Welcome to the National Science Bowl Finals Explained. In this video, I will cover the 2014 Middle School Finals. Team A is the Greater Boston Math and Science team from Andover, Massachusetts. They are undefeated in bracket round and seeded to win. Team B is from Wayne, New Jersey and is known as J. Droid Science Club. I am a National Science Bowl alumnus from Missouri, and I will do my best to explain the answers to the questions.
Middle school double elimination round 8 with a toss-up for both teams. Question 1, math short answer. Angle BCD is an exterior angle of triangle ABC. If the angle BCD measures 117 degrees, what is the largest possible integer degree measure for the angle ABC?
Important words said are triangle, exterior angle, and largest possible. You should know to draw a triangle, but you must know that an exterior angle lies outside the triangle and that it is supplementary to the interior angle. Here's the picture of what you should be drawing while he is reading the question, and as you hear exterior angle. Now the true test in this question is who can subtract the fastest. Let's see who wins.
Time.
The correct answer was 116.
Well, no one got it, but let's see what they should have done. Two angles being supplementary means they add up to 180 degrees. That means to find angle ACB, we take 180 minus 117. This is 63. We know one is 63 degrees, and we want to maximize one of the other ones. To maximize one angle, we minimize the other. The lowest possible integer degree angle is 1, so now the picture is this. Finally, all of the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees, so take 180 minus 63 minus 1, and that is your answer, which of course he said is 116.
Toss-up 2 for both teams. Physical science, multiple choice. According to the law of definite proportions, any two samples of KCl have which of the following? W, the same mass, X, the same melting point, Y, the same ratio of elements, Z, slightly different molecular interrupt.
For this question, one simply needs to know similes of proportion, or if you're really advanced, you can memorize the law of definite proportions. This kid is so good with one of these, he doesn't even need answer Z. And he shouldn't, because a proportion is a ratio, and as soon as he said ratio, your brain should have gone ding ding ding.
A captain.
Why?
Y is correct. Bonus question. Physical science, multiple choice. Which of the following functional groups can be found in beta-mercaptoethanol and consists of a sulfur atom single bonded to a hydrogen atom?
Carbon.
W, alkene, X, aldehyde, Y, carboxylic acid, Z, thiol.
This is a really complex question for middle schoolers, but I guess it is the finals of nationals. Anyway, for this question, you need to know the structures of functional groups. Don't be distracted by the long compound name. It has little to do with the question. But this is a picture of it, just in case it helps. Let's see if they get it.
Z.
Z is correct.
What a smart team. You must know, alkenes are carbon and hydrogen. Aldehydes are a form of carbon and oxygen. And carboxylic acids are a different form of carbon and oxygen. And so the only one with sulfur is a thiol. So therefore, that must be the answer.
Toss-up question 3 for both teams. General science, short answer. A box under high pressure is filled with helium, diatomic oxygen, diatomic nitrogen, and argon. A small hole is then opened in the box. Which of the gases escapes the
Interrupted again. What you need to know for this question is which gas is the lightest weight. Helium is the answer because the atomic number 2 is way less than the others. Also, remember, if you put a helium in a balloon, it flies up.
B, captain.
Helium.
Helium is correct. Bonus question, general science, short answer. In a titration experiment, small calibrated doses of the titrant are added to a known volume of analyte and indicator. The purpose of titration is to determine what extensive property of the analyte.
For this question, it helps to have done a titration experiment or read a definition. If you have done this, you should know what an analyte and titrant are. Do they get it?
But titration is titration is like you mix two things. So I think it's the neutralization point, or it could be the pH, but I don't know. So should we just go with neutralization point?
5 seconds.
Neutralization point.
That's not correct. The correct answer is concentration.
The analyte is an unknown concentrated solution. The purpose of a titration is to mix a titrant, a known concentrated solution, with an analyte to discover the analyte's concentration. Vocabulary is a biggie in Science Bowl.
Toss-up question 4 for both teams. Life science, multiple choice. Which of the following elements is needed for animals to make at least some of the proteinogenic amino acids? W, sulfur, X, iron, Y, magnesium, Z, interrupt.
You'll need to know the bases of amino acids. I remember mine from CHONS, which stands for carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and of course, the answer.
B, captain.
W.
W is correct. Bonus question, life science, short answer. What protein found in reptiles and humans is used to protect the skin from desiccation and abrasion?
This question is probably nearly impossible if you haven't taken an anatomy class. Skin has 3 layers, and the outermost epidermis has this protein.
Keratin.
Keratin is correct. Toss-up question 5, Earth and space, short answer. A cold water geyser or false geyser is driven by what substance trapped in an aquifer?
There's nothing I can really do to help you on this question. It's really memorizations. You simply must know the difference between a regular geyser and a cold water geyser. Regular geysers are produced near magma and are accompanied by steam. I guess cold helps you determine it's not near magma.
B2.
Gaseous components.
That is incorrect.
Time.
That's too late. The correct answer was carbon dioxide. Toss-up question 6 for both teams, physical science, multiple choice. A gear in a transmission is configured such that it makes 2 rotations for every rotation of the rear wheels of the vehicle. If the wheels have a circumference of pi feet and the vehicle moves 10 pi feet forward, how many rotations, interrupt?
B, captain.
5.
That's incorrect. That's 4 points, Team A. I'll reread. Physical science, multiple choice. A gear in a transmission is configured such that it makes 2 rotations for every rotation of the rear wheels of the vehicle. If the wheels have a circumference of pi feet and the vehicle moves 10 pi feet forward, how many rotations does the gear make? W, pi, X, 5, Y, 10, Z, 20.
This is a question where it really pays to write everything down. Note, circumference is the distance traveled per revolution. It is like converting the circle to a line, but keeping the distance the same. If we need to go 10 pi feet, we should divide by our circumference to get the number of revolution of the wheels. After that, you need to multiply by 2 to get the number of rotations of the gears, because like they said, the gears are double the wheel's revolutions.
A2.
Z.
Z is correct. Bonus question, physical science, short answer. What type of reflection occurs off of a smooth surface such as a mirror and results in a definite angle of reflection?
Another memorization question. You must remember the 2 types of reflections. From this, you can probably guess which is the answer.
Specular reflection.
That is correct. Toss-up question 7, math, short answer. What is the 3rd smallest positive integer that has exactly 3 positive divisors?
This is a number theory question. Remember, a number is always divisible by itself and 1. If it only has 2 positive divisors, the number is prime. The tricky part to comprehend in this problem is the idea that to have 3 divisors, the number divided by anything else must be the same. Take the first number with 3 divisors, 4. It has divisors 1, 2, and 4. Note 2 times 2 is 4. This shows the 3rd factor must square to get the number. A final idea is the number must be odd, except 4, because even will always be divisible by 2 and another number, making 4 divisors at least. Therefore, find the second odd square number.
Time.
Go ahead.
A2.
25.
That is correct. Bonus question, math short answer. What are the center and radius of the circle with equation x squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 6y minus 11 equals 0?
This is a complete the square problem. The radius will be the square root of the right-hand side of the equation, and the center will be the zeros of the left side.
Square root 2.
So 2 negative 3 is square root 2. Wait, is it this?
5 seconds.
2 comma negative 3 and square root of 2.
I'm sorry, that's it. The center was correct, but the radius was 2 root 6. Toss-up 8, energy, multiple choice. Absorption of carbon dioxide in which of the following is not an example of geological sequestration of carbon? W, soil. X, unminable coal seams in mines. Y, depleted oil and gas reserves. Z, underground saline formations.
This question is very specific, and I personally would have guessed. From the definition from Wikipedia, sequestration of carbon happens from fossil fuels and saline aquifers. From this, we can say the answer is not X, Y, or Z.
B3.
W.
W is correct. Please speak into the microphone.
Sorry.
Bonus question, energy multiple choice. Winds at higher altitudes are stronger and more persistent, making them a potential target for future wind energy efforts. How does the power available in wind vary with velocity? W, it is directly proportional to velocity cubed. X, it is directly proportional to velocity squared. Y, it is directly proportional to velocity. Z, it is inversely proportional to velocity squared.
Another very specific question. I would have gone with X because you can notice the pattern of the squared value in X and Z. However, if you study wind turbines, you will find the equation listed in the picture, and the answer is cubed.
I believe it's proportional to velocity. It's inversely proportional. How is energy? It has to be directly proportional.
So
So I think it's velocity squared, but I don't know. Because velocity squared and v squared was force. I think it's
I think it might be Z.
5 seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
X.
X is not correct. The correct answer is W. Toss-up 9 for both teams, life science, multiple choice. Which of the following is true regarding the nephron? W, nephrons with short loops of Henley are called juxtamedullary nephrons. X, the nephron is the functional unit of the bladder. Y, nephrons are interrupt.
A captain.
X.
That's incorrect. That's 4 points to Team B, and I'll reread. Life science multiple choice. Which of the following is true regarding the nephron? W, nephrons with short loops of Henley are called juxtamedullary nephrons. X, the nephron is the functional unit of the bladder. Y, nephrons are key in regulating the breakdown products of sugars. Z, Bowman's capsule surrounds the glomerulus.
I am with both teams on this one. No idea what a nephron is until now. It is the fundamental unit of the kidney that regulates water in blood. From this diagram, you should be able to pick out the answer.
B2.
Y.
Y is incorrect. The correct answer is Z. Toss-up 10 for both teams. General science, short answer. Scientists estimate what percentage of energy is transferred from a lower trophic level to the next higher trophic level.
Hey, I know this one from 9th grade biology. It's kind of a memorization, and you either know it or you don't.
B2.
10%.
That is correct. Bonus question, general science multiple choice. Which of the following plants is known for its anti-malarial activity? W, foxglove. X, echinacea. Y, sweet wormwood. Z, Pacific yew.
Perhaps you would have known foxglove causes poisoning, and along with echinacea is a flower which rarely would treat an illness. but if not, I don't blame you. That leaves sweet wormwood and Pacific U. Since one is used by the fire during Christmas, I think you can guess the answer.
Sweet wormwood. Sweet wormwood. Yes. 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 Yes.
Why?
Y is correct. Toss-up 11 for both teams. Math, short answer. In the set of integers modulo 6, what is 4 squared?
For this question, you need to know modular arithmetic takes the remainder of its base. As an example, 6 modulo 6 is 0. Think about a clock. Your hours run in modulo 12. 13 hours modular 12 is 1, which is why we denote 13 hours as 1 p.m.
A2.
4.
That is correct. Bonus question, math, short answer. Given a set of 5 points, no 3 of which are collinear, how many different ways are there to use 5 segments to connect the 5 points in such a way that each point is an endpoint for exactly 2 of the segments?
This is a combinatorics question, and it would really help if you knew the formula. If you don't, you have to think about it like beads. How many necklaces can be made from 5 beads with intuitive restrictions? The number of ways of ordering 5 beads is 5 factorial, which means 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. There's no start or end, so if you do this, you've overcounted by counting 5 different starting locations instead of 1. For instance, ABCDE is the same necklace as BCDEA. Also, we've overcounted by forgetting that we can go in both directions. So ABCDE is the same necklace as EDCBA. So really what it comes down to is the formula, which is the number of beads, or in this case segments, factorial, divided by the number of segments again times the different starting points that you can have, which in this case is 2. So it's 5 factorial divided by 5 times 2, which equals 12 different ways.
24. 24.
That's incorrect. The answer is 12. Toss-up question 12 for both teams. Physical science, short answer. Experiments with cathode rays led to the discovery of what interrupt?
You should realize he was about to say subatomic particle, and in almost every chemistry class you should learn this answer. Again, this is a memorization thing.
A1.
Electron.
I'm sorry, that was a blurt.
And it was also an interrupt, so I'll reread the question for Team B. Physical science, short answer. Experiments with cathode rays led to the discovery of what subatomic component?
Stop the clock, please.
Stop the clock.
Did you have a question, A3?
Yes, you gave 4 points to J-droids on this component.
It was an interrupt and a blurt. It was a 4-point penalty.
This wasn't what we called, but this was a conferral because she didn't respond before she was ready.
She was not.
Yeah, but he did not buzz. If he had buzzed and then not ready, it was you. She was recognized. Right, it was an interrupt. Oh, it was
an interrupt.
So the penalty points go.
It was an interrupt, so the question was an interrupt. So we're going to reread the question for Team B. So it's a 4-point interrupt penalty, and it's going to be reread for Team B.
So I've reread it, so it's okay.
Did you reread the question?
I have already. So we just start the 5 seconds. So the question's been reread, so if we can start the 5 seconds.
Okay.
B, Captain.
Electron.
Electron is correct. Bonus question. Physical science, short answer. A light traveling through a medium with an index of refraction 1.2 strikes a pane of glass at an angle of 60 degrees, refracting at an angle of 30 degrees. To 2 significant figures, what is the index of refraction of the pane of glass?
For this question, you will need to use Snell's law, which is listed.
It's angle.
What do you think it is?
I think it's 2. I think it's 2. You should the way.
5 seconds.
2.
That is incorrect. The correct answer is 2.1.
So the correct way to do this Snell's law is to do sine 60, which is root 3 over 2, over sine 30, which is 1/2, and then multiply by the index of refraction they give you, which is 1.2. 1.2 times 1.732 is 2.07846 continued, and that rounds to 2.1 with two significant figures. How you're supposed to figure this out in 30 seconds, I don't know.
And that is halftime in this round. The score standing with Greater Boston 40 and J-Droids 48. Very much, everybody. Before we begin with the second half of double elimination, we just want to revisit the last question. During halftime, we were able to confirm that contestant A1 answered the question correctly, and we knew that she answered the question correctly, but we heard a second person speak. We thought it was from Team A. We were able to confirm that that person was from Team B. Therefore, we're reversing the call of the blurt on Team A. So what is happening right now is that 8 points will be taken from J-Droids. That's the correct answer in the toss-up, plus the 4 points they got from the interrupt. And 4 points will be given to Team A, correctly awarded to Team A now for the correct answer. And before we start the second half, Team A is going to receive an untimed bonus question, which is a different bonus question, but a bonus question you would have gotten for getting that toss-up correct. So before we start the clock, this is an untimed. You still only have 20 seconds to answer, but this doesn't come off the time of the second half. So if everybody in the hall will please be quiet as we restart. Okay, so this is a bonus question for Team A. Earth and space, short answer. What is the term for a type of mud flow or debris flow composed of a slurry of pyroclastic material, rocky debris, and water, and associated with a volcanic eruption?
So if you studied Mount St. Helens, you might be able to answer this question. Otherwise, it's going to be a little hard. It's a memorization thing.
Lehar.
That is correct. Okay, so now we will get ready to start the second half of round 8. We'll be starting with toss-up question 14. Before we begin, are there any questions from the teams or any rule issues? All right, do we have any alternates coming in? No? All right. Therefore, we will begin with a toss-up question for both teams. This is question 14, energy, short answer. What fissile isotope of plutonium is produced during commercial nuclear power generation?
This question is a little hard because there are different types of plutonium that are used in nuclear production, but they're looking for the one that you first start with, which of course you can see in this diagram.
Time.
That's too late. The correct answer was plutonium-239. Toss-up question 15 for both teams. Life science, short answer. The human genetic code uses 64 codons to code for 20 amino acids, meaning that some amino acids are encoded by multiple codons. Name either of the 2 amino acids that are encoded by only one codon.
They're liking the memorization techniques in this one. Well, here's the answer in chemistry format, and the other one is tryptophan.
B2.
Methionine.
That is correct. Bonus question, life science, short answer. The theory of endosymbiosis predicts that plastids originated from ancient organisms that formed a mutualistic relationship with other single-celled organisms. Indicate all of the following 3 observations that are evidence for the theory of endosymbiosis. 1. Presence of DNA inside of mitochondria. 2. Mitochondria only forming via binary fission. 3. Chloroplast rRNA forming 70S ribosomes.
This is an abstract concept that I had never heard of before this question was asked, but if you study cell biology, you should sort of be able to get the answer just from knowing whether or not DNA is in mitochondria, if mitochondria forms via binary fission, and if chloroplasts are RNA forming 70S ribosomes, which I don't even know what that means, but I'm pretty sure 1 and 2 are right.
Chloroplastic ribosomal RNA.
So I don't, do chloroplasts have RNA? I think actually that it's 1 and 2.
5 seconds.
Statements 1 and 2.
That's incorrect. All 3 statements were correct. Toss-up question 16, physical science, short answer. What 2 flavors of quarks make up protons and interrupt?
This is a really easy question for the finals, and I'm glad he interrupted.
A captain.
Up and down.
That is correct. Bonus question, physical science, short answer. The initial pressure of an ideal gas is 1 atmosphere. At constant temperature, if the volume of the gas approaches infinity, then the pressure of the gas must approach what value in units of atmospheres?
For this one, you need to know Boyle's law, which says as volume rises, pressure decreases, which makes sense because then there's more room for the atoms to jump around.
0.
0 atmospheres.
That is correct. Toss-up 17 for both teams. Earth and space, short answer. What is the azimuth of the sun at sunrise during the autumnal equinox?
I hope you all read your astronomical maps before coming.
B3.
45 degrees.
That is incorrect.
A captain.
23.5.
No, the correct answer is 90 degrees.
And B3, please speak into your microphone.
Thank you. Toss-up 18, general science, multiple choice. Populations with short lifespans, high death rates, many offspring, and early reproduction can be classified as which of the following? W, equilibrium, X, R-selected, Y, populous, Z, K-selected.
This question, you should immediately narrow it down to X and Z, because W and Y you just have never heard of before, and they're just trying to make extra answers because they need 4. So really, you have a 50-50 shot, and if you remember correctly, you'll know the answer.
A captain.
Z.
Z is not correct.
B2.
X.
X is correct. Bonus question, general science, short answer. What is the name given to irregular base pairing at the 3rd base in a codon during translation?
I had no idea, but now I do. It'll help if you know Weebles do this.
Non-coded, no. It's, I don't think substitution. No, there's something about, I don't know. I think that's the thing.
5 seconds.
Substitution.
No, the correct answer is wobble. Toss-up 19 for both teams. Math, short answer. What is the exponent of x for the 4th term in the expansion of open parenthesis 2x plus m close parenthesis to the 9th power?
So why they make this problem to the 9th power is they don't want you to actually multiply everything out. That would take forever. What you need to understand is that you take the power that's in the equation given to you, and there's going to be an x with every power under the power given to you. For example, if you have x to the power to the 9th, there's going to be 1 to the 8th, 1 to the 7th, 1 to the 6th. So you need to count down from 9. 9, 8, 7, 6. And that'll be the 4th term. So it's to the 6th power. What really that I don't like about this question is you can go the opposite way and have your powers ascend instead. So you would have 0, 1, 2, 3. So I feel like 3 could also be an answer.
Time.
The correct answer was 6. Toss-up 20, physical science, multiple choice. The Stern-Gerlach experiment used silver atoms flying through a specific magnetic field to show that the magnetic field would bend the path of the silver atoms by a particular angle in opposite directions. Which of the following did this experiment aid in discovering? W, particle spin, X, the uncertainty principle, Y, wave-particle duality, Z, quantum entanglement.
This is kind of a fundamental thing to quantum mechanics, so you need to understand that it's particle spin. Basically, if I throw a frisbee, it's going to go in different directions depending on what way the frisbee's spinning. And that's just the same thing for silver atoms, which of course flew up and down even though they were sent at the same speed.
A, captain.
Y.
Y is not correct.
B, captain.
W.
W is correct. Bonus question, physical science, short answer. Sample A contains 4 moles of oxygen gas, while sample B contains 10 moles of elemental carbon. Which sample has more mass and by how much to the nearest gram?
So for this question, you need to know oxygen is diatomic, which means there's 2 atoms every time you have a compound of its gas. So basically you take the mass of oxygen, which is 16, and you multiply that by 2 for every time you have a mole. And because we have 4, you multiply that by 4 moles and you get 128 grams. And then for the carbon, it's just an element, so you have 1 atom for every mole. And since you have 10 moles, you do 12 times 10 and get 120. And of course, the difference between 128 and 120 is just 8.
Elemental carbon is just 1 carbon atom. What's the mass of the 6, right? 12. So 120, and then Robert, multiply 3 times 22. 32 times 2. 64. So I think it's 10 moles of carbon. Okay. Sample B.
That is incorrect. The answer is sample A by 8 grams. Toss-up 21, life science, multiple choice. Chlorophylls are characterized by the presence of what metal in their porphyrin ring structure?
So this is really unique to chlorophylls. This is actually like one of the first times this element was found in an organism. So it's important to memorize this one.
Interrupt.
B, captain.
Magnesium.
That is correct. Bonus question, life science, short answer. Different layers of a forest absorb photosynthetically active radiation at different levels. Rate the following 4 portions of a mixed forest in order from most absorptive to least absorptive. 1, crown. 2, forest floor. 3, understory. 4, upper crown.
So for this one, it's going to be help to know the order that the layers go in a forest. And for some reason, instead of using canopy and emergent layer, they use crown instead, but it's hard to find a diagram with that. So really what the emergent layer is it's the top level, and they're going to note this in the question by upper crown. And so what you would expect is that this would be the most absorptive, but because it's getting sunlight all the time, it's not as absorptive. And everything under that is going to be more absorptive just because they need light because they don't normally get it. So that's why the layer under that, which is the crown layer, is next, and then the understory layer, and then the forest floor, because they're not getting any light. And then finally, you're going to have the emergent layer because it doesn't need to be absorptive because it's getting light all the time anyway.
3 is understory and 4 is upper. So I want to say 2, 3, 1, 4.
3, 1, 4. Okay. Can we get it by number?
Yes, 2, 3, 1.
Most to least, right?
Yes, 2,
5 seconds.
2, 3, 1, 4.
No, the correct answer is 1, 3, 2, 4. Toss-up 22 for both teams. Earth and space, multiple choice. The base combination of clay comprises which elements? W, silicon, phosphorus, nitrogen. X, aluminum, silicon, oxygen. Y, phosphorus, calcium, potassium. Z, nitrogen, potassium, silicon.
Okay, so for this one, you're definitely going to go with an answer that has silicon because you know that clay is used in pottery, and to get it glassy, you need something like silicon. And then you also are going to want oxygen because as you heat it, it's possible that there becomes air bubbles in it, which is a sign of oxygen, you know. So the only one with silicon and oxygen is X, so that's the one you need to go with.
B, captain.
Y.
Y is not correct.
A, captain.
X.
X is correct. Bonus question. Earth and space, multiple choice. Which of the following is not true of the subtropical latitudes between 30 and 35 degrees, both north and south? W, they are called the horse latitudes. X, they are under a ridge of low pressure. Y, they are regions that receive little precipitation. Z, they are regions with variable winds mixed with periods of calm.
So this diagram kind of gives it away, but you can kind of tell which one is the answer because 3 of them are very, very specific, and there's one of them that's just kind of, well, that could be right, couldn't be wrong, and so you can kind of assume that one's probably wrong.
X.
X is correct. Toss-up 23 for both teams. Energy multiple choice. An exothermic fusion nuclear reaction is possible under which of the following conditions? W, the product nucleus is lighter than iron 56. X, the product nucleus is heavier than iron 56.
So if you know any astronomy at all, you should know that suns and stars make their energy from fusion, and the elements in a star are going to be helium and hydrogen that keep reacting in fusion. And so you know originally that hydrogen and helium are less than iron, so that has to be the answer. And even before that, you should be able to tell that either W or X are going to be the answer because they're opposites.
Interrupt.
A captain.
W.
W is correct. Bonus question. Energy multiple choice. A transmission line T1 with power factor equal to 1 dissipates 100 kilowatts for 2 hours. Transmission line T2 has a power factor of 0.5 and dissipates 400 kilowatts for 2 hours. If the cost of electricity is 20 cents per kilowatt hour, how much is paid for the dissipated energy in each transmission line? W, $20 and $160. X, $40 and $80. Y, $40 and $160. Z, $40 and $320.
So this one, they're purposely trying to mess you up by putting the power factor in there when it really has no effect on the outcome. You would think you would have to multiply your final answer by 0.5 because the power factor is 0.5, but really it has no effect. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a kilowatt hour by multiplying your kilowatts and hours, and then finding the price by multiplying by that 20 cents per hour cost they give you. And so you come out with 40 and 160.
X.
X is not correct. The correct answer is Y. Toss-up 24 for both teams. Life science multiple choice. Why are spongin and spicules important to a sponge? W, they digest food. X, they remove waste. Y, they provide support. Z, they produce.
So in biology and anatomy, you learn that spicules help with the skeletal system in an organism. And if you know the main function of a skeletal system, you know that it supports. And so that's why this guy's able to interrupt and answer.
Interrupt.
B2.
Why?
Y is correct. Bonus question. Life science short answer. What are the scientific names of the 3 layers of supportive tissue that surround each kidney?
Good luck with this one. Even if you know the main parts of a kidney, the third answer is part of one of the other 2 answers. So you have to know really specific stuff for this question.
Nephron. No, cortex. You want to say cortex, matrix, and what? Cortex, matrix, and pericycle.
No, the correct answer is renal capsule, adipose capsule, and renal fascia. Toss-up 25 for both teams. General science short answer. In what type of chemical reaction is 1 or more electrons transferred between interrupt?
A captain.
Ionic.
That's incorrect. That's 4 points to Team B, and I'll reread. General science short answer. In what type of chemical reaction is 1 or more electrons transferred between reactants?
So I thought this was a really easy question for the last question of nationals. I guess they wanted the team to catch up. However, they don't get this question, and it's because they confuse ionic and the answer, which is redox. So what they need to do is take high school chemistry, and they'll know this for sure.
B2.
Ionic metallic.
That's not correct. The correct answer is a redox reaction. And that brings us to the end of this round. The final score is Greater Boston 86, J-Droid 64. Please join us in congratulating our 2014 Middle School National Science Bowl champions, Greater Boston.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll take a 15-minute break while we set up for the award ceremony.